Oh, we back with another episode of the Fuel of Crutch podcast. Let's talk about it. I'm gonna give a little time for people to jump online, so that way they can be a part of the podcast. I do want to say thank y'all for tuning in and tapping in with me for as long as you have. It's definitely been a journey, and it's been an experience. Been learning a lot with this podcasting and getting on the platform and just talking to y'all. So today we got a couple of special guests. We got one confirmed that'll be hopping on. We got another one that's finishing up a birthday party. And so what we will do is we'll start it off with the intro. I'll talk about some of the events and things that I got coming up, and then we'll jump into the podcast as normal. Like I said, we're back with another episode of the Fuel of Crutch podcast. This is season 4, episode 5. Let's talk about it. First, I just kind of want to start off by saying I appreciate everybody that has supported me over the years with the journeys of everything that I've done, things that I've created, promoted, and led me to have a platform and a following of people that support me. I also want to say that I am definitely supporting my good friend, Big Mike. You can see I'm wearing his shirt, his fight, as he's basically fighting for his life. I talked to him earlier today, and I asked him to send me a script of something that he would love for me to share for you guys. So he said, join us Sunday, March 2nd from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Hub, Madison, Wisconsin, for a gift of life, a green carpet affair, a special kidney awareness fundraiser benefiting Big Mike Bell, and the Mount Zion Charitable Organization, which provides vital programs, services, advocacy, and resources for Black older adults in the Madison community. We're rolling out the green carpet for an unforgettable evening featuring a gourmet 4-course dinner by renowned Chef Mac, Phil McAllister. We're also going to have live entertainment, a silent auction, powerful stories from dialysis patients, transplant recipients, and healthcare advocates. There's going to also be free blood pressure and kidney screenings provided by the National Kidney Foundation of Wisconsin, and a keynote address from Melissa Roberts, director of the UW Transplant Center. Now, let me tell you why this night is so important. Mike Bell, a beloved former radio personality and music director for 93.1 Jams, is battling kidney disease and in urgent need of a transplant. After losing his job and health insurance due to budget cuts, he's facing overwhelming medical expenses. A Gift of Life isn't just about raising funds, it's about raising awareness of the severe health disparities in the Black community, where individuals are 4 times more likely to experience kidney failure than white Americans. And now here's how you can make a difference. Get your tickets now at Eventbrite, become a sponsor, or donate items for the silent auction. Together, we can support Mike's transplant journey, bring attention to the kidney health disparities, and uplift Black elders in Madison through Mount Zion's charitable organization. So set your calendar for Sunday, March 2nd. Get your tickets today and join us for a night of hope, community, and change. For more information on sponsorship and donations, contact Joe D at joe@inmotionmt.com or give him a call at 608-473-1493. Let's show up, show out, and make a difference, because together we can create hope and inspire change. See you at A Gift of Life, a green carpet affair. So that's for my main man, Mike Bell. praying that everything goes according and we're going to have a fun event. I will be on the green carpet with J-Rock Magneto doing interviews. So without further ado, we will jump right into this podcast. We got the special guest, Alex Booker. And so without further ado, I will allow him to come on and introduce himself. Alex, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Pretty good. Grabbing a glass of red wine on some sophisticated stuff tonight.
Okay. I'm gonna have to get like you.
Yes, sir. I'm actually waiting on a sponsorship for a drink, so that way I can have my own drink and have a sponsor that way.
That part, that's what's needed, definitely.
So yeah, Alex, do me a favor. Give us a little background. Give us a little history of who you are.
Yes. So my name is Alex. I'm from Madison, born and raised here. I lived on the east side and went to La Follette and Edgewood College. I've always liked the outdoors, always liked being around animals and stuff. And so when I went to college, I initially was going for pre-veterinary medicine. But then when I left, I really started thinking about what do I actually like to do, and noticing that vet school was kind of like medical school, and vet hospitals are kind of like regular hospitals where the doctors don't really get to spend time with the patients. And so I really got more into the ecosystem, and then later on got into agriculture. And so now I do work with a cooperative of people, of Black farmers and herbalists here in the Madison area. And we do workshops on like food is medicine. I also have some chickens and honeybees out at the farm. We do chickens for eggs, and then we also are getting into meat chickens. And then I've been doing just all kinds of stuff that has to do with outdoors. My family is originally from Mississippi, from rural Mississippi. And so my great grandparents had a farm, and we still have family land down there. So I was always kind of tied to it, but just a generation removed from it. And so being able to reconnect with agriculture has been very helpful for me to kind of reconnect with my ancestors that are no longer here.
Just all kinds of love it. So let me ask you this. Is there a strong or a big community for Black farmers?
Not technically in Madison, but which is kind of how our cooperative started, was I found out about this national Black urban growers and farmers conference that moves each year. And the first year I found out about it was 3 years ago, and it was in Atlanta. And I had found out maybe a couple weeks before it was going on, and I figured out, like, had my job, paid for my plane ticket, and then had like my college, paid for like the room and the conference fees, and just went out there by myself. And I met so many Black farmers, herbalists, agriculturalists, and different people in the USDA, Black people in the USDA that are helping farmers get connected to resources. And that was my first time being in a conference where I like felt like at home, where I was learning things from people who look like me, learned about seed saving from a Black woman with locks. And I was just like, I would never get that in Madison. But then I started feeling sad because most of the people had groups of people. And so they were all there, like all the New York people who I hung out with, and they all were like a group of like 6 or 7 people from Philly. And they're all like, where are you from? I'm like, Wisconsin. And they're like, anybody else here from Wisconsin? Like, no. And I met with like one woman from Minnesota, but there was not a lot of people. And so the following year, I had reached out to my friends, Sharice and Sebastian, and we were like, I was like, y'all gotta go. This is amazing. Like, it's hundreds of Black farmers. Like, y'all have to go. And then we made a soul food brunch to raise money for the 3 of us to go to the next conference in Philly. And we actually were able to present at that conference as well.
I feel like I remember hearing about the soul food brunch, but I don't think I knew about the reasoning behind it.
Yes. So it was really like, farmers don't have money to be spending on on flying out and staying out like that. And so instead of us trying to dip into our pockets to make it happen, we decided to put on workshops and brunch. And so last year we actually did 2 days. So one day was hands-on workshops on herbalism and creating herbal medicine. And then the next day we did the soul food brunch. And then we were able to go out to Houston this past fall.
Oh, that's dope. So are you gonna make it an annual thing?
Yeah, at this point, I was like, we might as well make it annual. And at the end, that's how we started the cooperative, is that we've been working together for 2 years. We're like, we should really like commit and make a cooperative, and then also financially having a structure that is holding this fundraiser, but then the other types of events that we look to do. So that is how we created the Ashe Cooperative, was through starting off with those brunches to raise money for farmers to go out to this conference.
Oh no, that's dope. We'll definitely tap into that a little bit more a little later. But I do want to kind of go backwards. Like, so I know you said that you kind of enjoyed being outdoors, and then when you got to college, you started having some different thoughts about what it was that you exactly wanted to do. But when you were a kid, what was your dream career? What did you think you would have been doing as an adult when you were a kid?
No, I 100% knew I was going to be a veterinarian. Like, anything, if like when you first go to college and your first advisor is like, you're gonna think this freshman year, but you're not gonna. And I was like, no, that's everybody else. I'm gonna be a vet. Like, I don't know what else y'all are expecting. So I always knew that I was gonna be a veterinarian, just because I really liked caring for and knowing what to do when an animal is hurt, and just being in ecosystems. But yeah, that's what I swore I was gonna do.
Okay. You still got a love for animals. I don't want to say like chickens per se, because I don't necessarily know if they actually living in the house with you, but you still got a love for animals that would be in the home.
Yes. So I have a dog. My dog, his name is Mowgli. He is 7 years old. So I got him at 10 weeks old. He's my baby. But yeah, so I always had pets. Always wanted a dog, but couldn't have a dog. And so I've had every animal outside of a dog always. I was able to get one.
So, and along this journey of yours from veterinary to farmer and all these other things, like, did you have any influential people that kind of played a role in shaping you or nurturing the things that you had an interest in? Yes, outdoors was something that all kids enjoyed, but clearly you had like a special interest in a way.
Yeah, my mom really fostered a lot of it. I didn't know until like a year or two ago when I asked her to do an article with me that she does not like gardening. I swore as a kid, like it was a family thing. I thought she liked it. I thought I thought it was me and my mom that liked it. And later on, she told me like she saw how much I liked it. And so she just wanted to make sure I was still able to do it. And that was like our bonding experience. But yeah, she's like, I did not like being out there all day, every day.
Shout out to moms helping you out though.
Yes. So she did that. I had a couple science teachers in high school that really saw how much I was interested in the environment. And so they would like send me different opportunities to do summer camps and just outside sciencey stuff in hands-on classes. So I was kind of encouraged to work with my hands and to do as much outdoors as I could.
So the $1 million question is, since you like being outdoors so much, how were you as a student?
I was an amazing student. I was I was raised in a sense that after high school was a requirement to finish, and then after high school, you either like join the workforce or you go to college, and either one you got to fund yourself. And so I knew that like from pretty much middle school, I was a part of all the programs, a part of People Program, Avid, all that kind of stuff. And so it was like making sure that I had enough good grades and community service and extracurricular activities to really have a good resume to get scholarships later on once I did apply to college.
Okay.
And my mom was very adamant on academic scholarships and not sports or music or something that could be taken away if my performance is different. And so yeah, she was really making sure that our grades were good and that I was applying to like science or community service based scholarships.
How many siblings did you have?
I have an older sister and a younger brother.
Oh, so you was the middle one. So you got to watch first.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So what extracurriculars were you involved in school? I know you said you were a people program avid. I was a part of the people program up until I realized I didn't want to go to school in Wisconsin, and then I let that go because it kind of impeded on what I wanted to do in the summer.
Yes. No, yeah, I did those. I was in orchestra, and so I played the violin, and then I ended up playing the stand-up bass, which I love the bass. I also did pit orchestra, so like for musicals, I played the bass for them, and I also did a jazz band, and so I played the bass guitar, and I also did band, and so I played the alto saxophone as well for a couple years. So I really loved music. And then I did a lot of volunteer work with different veterinary hospitals and clinics as like a vet tech or vet assistant, and did some arts clubs called Guestwork that was at La Follette. And so I did some fun little art and ceramic stuff. So stayed busy.
Cool. No, nothing wrong with that. And shout out to you for staying involved with the music. Do you still play?
No, because I chose the most expensive and big instruments. but I'm looking at purchasing another saxophone because I do miss playing music. But my love is the bass. And so when I have a place where I can have space for a stand-up bass, I'll definitely be getting that back.
No, man, shout out to you for that, because I think I ended up putting too much peer pressure on myself, thinking that playing an instrument wasn't cool, because I played the trumpet in middle school, violin in elementary, but I really, really, really enjoyed the trumpet. And when I got to high school, I put pressure on myself, like, yo, like, I don't think this is cool. I don't know if the guy that's on the basketball team gonna look cool as playing in the orchestra or the band or whatever. And I kind of let that go, and I wish I didn't, because I was really good and I really enjoyed it. But when you're still trying to learn yourself, you kind of let certain things go because you're more concerned about outside influences. But you live and you learn.
And Madison's not really like Drumline,
Right. It's not the place where it's gonna make it look like it's cool. And Drumline didn't come out till I was in college, so just a little bit.
I was watching that. I was like, I'm gonna be in there. And then I got there. I was like, yeah, we're not playing the same song.
But listen, if you seen the movie Drumline, that was real. Like them getting up that bright and early in the morning. My roommate was in the band. I was highly upset because he'd be making too much noise getting up in the morning. So when it came time though to make your decision for college, how did you make your decision? Because you stayed here, you stayed at home, and you didn't go to UW. So talk us through that.
I got a scholarship. And so I was selected I earned the Community Scholarship at Edgewood College. And at the moment, that was a scholarship given to 3 high school seniors in the Dane County area that covered 4 years books and tuition. And it was based off of your community work and potential leadership and volunteer hours. And then we just had to continue doing volunteer work while we were in college, and then having some leadership roles on campus. And so that kind of was my deciding factor when looking at where to go. It was like, well, you can piece together things, or you can go where things are going to be covered. And looking back on it, I would have made a different decision, but it was good for the moment.
All right, talk to me about what decisions would you have considered had you had more thought or more opportunities or more time to think about it.
Yeah, I guess since I went to La Follette, it was a very diverse school, and I grew up on the east side, so I had mixed classes, but I still was around a good amount of Black and brown people.
Okay.
How I grew up, and so I barely toured Edgewood. And so I just assumed like it's in Madison. I live in Madison. It's gonna be like my everyday life. And then I got there and it was a whole bunch of rural white kids that didn't get into Madison that went to Edgewood. And so it was just like a very different culture. And I did not know that my scholarship program was under their Catholic department. And so then it comes with another layer of I'll say white savior complexes. And so it was a lot of butting heads and me speaking up for myself and others during my time there that some people enjoyed and some people didn't. But, still got connections.
And that is a different environment. And I don't know if everybody really understands going to a private, really, really, really strong, predominantly white institution. And I was one that had the experience of both. I went to an HBCU first, then transferred to a small Methodist college, but in Alabama. But it was very similar to Edgewood, but it was just a tad bit smaller too. And I knew I felt the experience of being the only minority in my entire department. So I didn't make too many friends. I kept to myself. Like I remember my nickname on campus was Thumbs Up because literally walking on campus, they'd be like, random kid would be like, "Hey, Jamal," and I'm like, and keep it moving. So yeah, it was uncomfortable. I mean, like you said, I made some good connections for some of the people that I did stay connected to, but it was definitely interesting and challenging at times.
Yes, real.
So let's talk more back about like you going into business to be a farmer. Now, is farming your sole income stream?
No, not at all. I work with Pastor and Plenty, which is a restaurant here in the Madison area, or it's in Madison, and I do their community programming, and I coordinate the Black Excellence cooking class, and that's where we do we send out meal kits to around 120 families in Madison, and they get to cook alongside me and another Black chef, and they do a science project in the class as well as get a virtual field trip where I interview different Black farmers, scientists, plant pathologists, and different businesses around Madison. So youth can see different opportunities and career paths in agriculture.
Man, shout out to that in general. Shout out to the exposure piece, but then shout out to giving them opportunities, hands-on, virtual, and just learning in general. Because, like you said, there aren't a lot of Black farmer communities for you to be a part of. So it looks like you're taking a step in and creating and nurturing the next generation as well.
Yes. And everything feeds each other. Like people who want to support me, they're able to sign up for these kinds of courses, and then people find out about me and learn about some of the stuff that I do outside of the courses and end up supporting other work that I do. So it's a fine mix and balance, but it's around the clock for sure.
Man, listen, you sounding real modest. Like you're just peeling this onion back real slow. Go ahead and tell us everything, because you're a Black farmer. You're working within a collective. You like go ahead and tell us all of it. Because then the more questions gonna come, because you already got me intrigued. Because I'm like, wow, all right, let's learn more.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time with my head down, just figuring out things and working. And so, like last year was a very big professional development year for me. Last season, I actually spent a lot of time. I was a naturalist in residence for the Madison Public Libraries, and it's a new program that is like a naturalist gets to come in and work with the libraries and the city parks and I think I did like 18. No, it was like 18 programs, 20 programs in 6 weeks.
All right.
And so at different parks and libraries over that course of the summer, and did stuff about. I did a nature walk, some like plant identification. I did natural dyeing, so using different plants to dye fabrics. I did a herbal tea blend workshop, rustic flower arrangement workshop, but different things that I do out on the farm and using different herbs and natural edible weeds and stuff that are out there that people don't know about, and bringing those to the libraries so people can learn about those different things. And I found that out through Quantice because she is a doula, a Black doula, who she's coined the term food doula. And so she works with her families through food and healing. And so I saw her be the naturalist the year before. And I was like, shut up, what is this? I want to do this. And then so I just applied the next year and was selected for that.
And there's a growing Black doula community in Madison. I've been hearing more and more and more and learning about different people, and then some people that I didn't even know were in that community. So like, no, you're definitely talking about some stuff that I don't know if the Madison community knows at large either. So
yes, and it's needed because they're also like vocal support while the mother is processing everything and trying to like figure out what's going on in her body. She has an advocate outside of her body to
advocacy is huge. Yes.
Very important. And so yeah, I've been like connected with a lot of doulas, surprisingly, and it's helped out. Like when my sister had my nephews, like anything that she had a question on, I was like, hold on, let me text my doulas and see, and gave her a list of things to do. So yeah, it's very important. Very important.
So how long have you actually been like profiting as a Black farmer? How long have you been in the game?
So it'll be about 4 years. So yeah, still fairly new with the size and stuff that I'm doing. I've been gardening my whole entire life. And so I always viewed it as a hobby. And that was up until 2020, until COVID. And I had friends and people ask me to help them create growing spaces wherever they live. And so I started off setting up gardens and helping people get into gardening since I did not have larger space. And then once I got access to land out in Black Earth, then I was able to start growing larger amounts of produce and selling. And one of my first clients was Patience Clark. I think she had Palette Pleasures was her catering.
Okay. Before she moved away?
Yes.
Gotcha.
And so I was so sad. I was hurt. I was Mariah Carey wall sliding when she moved because she was like my main business because I really wanted to circulate the Black dollar. I got into farming because I believe it was Malcolm X that said you can't fight for true liberation if you still need the oppressor to feed you. Like you have to be able to feed yourself to be able to speak out. And so I felt like that's my part in it. And so I wanted Black businesses to be able to purchase produce from a Black farmer. And so she would literally call me up, hit me up earlier in the day and say, hey, I need like 20, 30 pounds of collards. And so I would literally harvest them that day and drop them off to her. And so her clients were getting like fresh, same day harvested collard greens locally. And after like the first batch, she was like not letting me go. Anytime she's like, what else you got? And so that was where I really saw like there's a need and being able to connect. There's so many Black businesses that have food and herbal stuff. And so being able to connect them to the source instead of them having to use a middle person was really like where I like to focus on.
So what would you say are some of the struggles that you've kind of encountered since you've been doing this and since 2020 outside of the pandemic? And
yeah, I think one of the biggest struggles is like people don't cook no more. so it's hard to have a business and support yourself off of people only cooking like every couple days or like not really knowing what to do with fresh produce. And so I've done a lot of education stuff and teaching people what to do with them, but mainly pivoting to businesses. And I like to say the aunties, because the aunties and the big mamas, they're the ones who are actually cooking. And so I will drop off greens to them and they cook for everybody else. But the 20-somethings aren't really using fresh herbs and fresh ingredients.
I was going to say, yeah. So what also is like your clientele base, whether it be individuals, whether it be restaurants, whether it be whatever, like what is your clientele base and their age range too?
Yeah, it's kind of spread out. I have a key group of people in their 30s and 40s, I would say, that really support my eggs. And so I don't even market that I sell eggs because by the time I get from the farm to my house, they're pretty much already spoken for. So I have a good 15, 20 people that are on rotation that purchase eggs from me. And then I used to do sell to different businesses, which changes because people's budgets fluctuate.
Mm-hmm.
And so I try to be accommodating, and I also can't compete with certain things because I know that I'm putting a lot of time and energy into it. Because I don't do tractors, it's all hand tools. I'm out there doing all of that. I don't have machines doing all of that. So I do have to compensate myself for my time and energy that I'm putting into it. So I've done a lot more working with Sarah Branch from Earthly Temptations and being able to give her herbs from my farm so that she can sell those in her herbal tea blends and use them for her different products and stuff. And then I've been a part of different grants to just the study and education of growing different things. And so then that usually pays for stuff. So I'm able to give away produce since I'm already getting paid for that. And then I'm actually working on a project with my best friend, Matias, and we are starting a supper club that is focusing on Black and Latino foodways in the diaspora called Sol and Sazon. And that will be a farm to table supper club. So that's where most of my produce that I will be growing will be going towards, because it's really hard to go on vacation off of a bunch of $3 bunches of veggies versus a dinner party where I get to use the veggies that I'm growing and put them into a very good meal, and people will pay for that.
Because that was the next thing. Is this line of work profitable?
It can be. You just have to be at a certain scale, and I believe cut certain corners that I don't align with. And so okay. I know that I am making less money than I could if I did other things, but that's my morals and in the way that I feel about the environment and the earth. And so I'm like, it's worth me struggling a little bit and figuring out things than taking advantage of the land.
No, nothing wrong with that. You gotta, if you're a person that's driven by principles, stick with them. If you got values, stick with them. I think that speaks volumes to who you are as a person, which also is going to spill over into business. And is there? So, do you have ways that will align with you to scale up?
Yeah, I'm looking at doing that this upcoming season, especially with the food recalls that we've been having because of the current president's rollbacks on safety precautions in food processing has gotten a lot of food recalls. And so knowing that we're about to step into that again, I have decided to add more space, knowing there's going to be more need community-wise to local foods and our local foods. I grow okra, I grow hot peppers, I grow all these different things that we need in our foodways. And so, yeah, I'm expanding some more. It's just, you have to plan it out more.
Right.
I don't till, so I do tarps to kill off the grass and create garden plots. And so that is a couple months process. And so we're just planning those things out now. I also plan on adding more chickens. We have around 20-something chickens on the farm right now, and we like to add around 10 to 15 each year because chicken math, you're going to lose some. Everybody loves chicken, so you're going to lose some because they're free range. And then they also stagger out how often they lay depending on how old they get. And so
no. That part you got to go into, because first of all, you go to the grocery store right now. I saw Woodman selling eggs for $11, $12. I was like, oh hell no. So talk about that, because that process is foreign to me. You just said a staggering egg laying. Like, no, we got to talk about that.
Yes. So when chickens are when they're young from, well, first thing I'll say, it takes around 5 to 6 months for a chicken to lay its first egg. So it's an investment. You are paying to feed and make sure that that chicken does not die during that time frame before you get your first egg. And here in Wisconsin, by the time that happens, it starts to get into the fall and they start laying less with lower sunlight. And so they actually don't really have their first full productive season until that next spring. And then for their first year, 2 years, maybe even 3 years of life, they lay 1 egg a day. Or it's like 1.25 days. So like they'll lay every day and then they'll take a break and then they'll lay every day. And then after they get around like 4 or 5, they like lay every other day or every couple days. And then once they get older than like 5 or 6, they just lay whenever they feel like it.
Damn.
And so we decided not to butcher any of our hens on the farm because they do help with like pest management and stuff. And so we were like, we don't want to have a whole huge flock of chickens and they all get old and then we're not getting eggs and we're just taking care of all these old chickens. And so we like try to stagger it out. So as the older ones stay and they do their thing, we still bring in some young ones each year.
So what's the life expectancy of a chicken?
They can live so long, but I think the average is like 7 to 10 years. Like they can be up there. Yeah. But yeah, we do that, and then if there's any roosters in the bunch, I butcher the roosters, and they go in the freezer.
You are educating me, because all of this is a foreign concept, and I'm like, wow. Like I don't know why I thought chickens was just like when they start laying eggs, like it might be a whole litter of eggs coming out.
Nope, it's just one. And so, but that's the big thing, like with this whole bird flu and the egg prices and everything, like they're killing hundreds of thousands of birds at once because they're sick. And then now you have to start from scratch. It's going to take 6 months before you can like get back to something laying something.
So is that why the cost of eggs so high?
Yeah. And it's still happening. I'm going to a talk about the bird flu with the DNR pretty soon, that they're having one, so I can learn more, so I can protect my birds. But yeah, that stuff is getting everywhere. So we gotta figure out what that's like with our food system.
No, listen, again, you are putting me up on game, because of course, this is not my wheelhouse, so I would have never known. I've just been complaining and angry about the cost of eggs.
Yeah, so if you think that you're about to just go buy some baby chicks and you don't have to, you'll get free eggs.
No, yeah, it don't work like that.
Nah, just talk to a farmer, see if they can add a couple more chickens to their to their flock. Then you won't have to worry about taking care of them, because it's a lifestyle. They need to get let out.
But now I'm interested, like, how much does a baby chick cost?
They're cheap. They're like, for the cheap ones, regular ones, they're like maybe $3. For the fancy ones, they're $5.
Now, how many of them make it like live long enough to lay eggs?
For most of mine, we pretty much get all of ours to laying age. We lose maybe like 10% to like hawks or like a raccoon if they don't want to go to bed. But for the most part, we can
they don't want to what?
They don't want to go to bed, like they don't want to go to their coop. We had some chickens that started going into the trees, and then the night, like we couldn't get them down, and then that night a raccoon got them, because once they go to sleep, they can't see anything, so they just get got.
Oh my God, the stuff that you have no clue, would never think about. Oh my God, oh man.
Yes.
Chickens live a rough life is basically what you're telling me.
Mm-hmm. Everybody loves chicken. So like you gotta be ready for it.
Oh man, that's crazy. I like all right, so we listen, we are going to that do you participate in FFA?
I have not. No, I'm looking at
I
getting
ain't
more.
never seen a black person a part of it, but I'm just curious.
Yeah, I've been hearing about all the organizations, all the clubs, and all of those things. I grew up in Madison, so it was like I didn't get to do 4-H or none of that. It was like just go to school.
I
But
only knew of the FFA from when I worked at McDonald's as a kid, and they would have those. I don't know if they were conventions or whatever it was, but it'd be like busloads of them coming, and would of course they're coming to order to eat food before they go to wherever else they got to go. But I'm just like I've never like none of them were ever black.
nope, nope. And it's a real problem up north because we don't have access to land. And so I farm out of Firm Footing Farm in Black Earth. And so their mission is to provide Black and Brown LGBTQ people with land for free to farm on. And anything that stays on the property, they pay for. Anything that I would take, I pay for. But I don't have to like pay a lease. I don't pay for water. I don't pay for a lot of those things that are a big barrier into growing and experimenting with agriculture. So it's really hard up here for Black people to find.
So with all this new DEI stuff, is that a worry for you?
No, I think it was a worry. Okay, so it's a worry in professional world for me with career-wise, because a lot of stuff is grant funded and a lot of things get frozen. But when it comes to my agriculture endeavors, I apply to stuff that I'm already going to do either way.
Gotcha.
I don't really believe in. Let me walk that back. We are live. So I want to make sure that I'm doing what feels right in my soul and know what I feel needs to happen. And when it comes to having like boards of people and having committees and stuff get to tell you what is worth the money and what is worth the time, I found that counterproductive. And so for me to be able to do all the work that I have been doing, it's just been me putting in the hours myself, finding the resources. I do a lot of bartering. So I trade time for different resources. And that's how I've been able to get to do the things that I do. And so now I'm at a point where like the funding would be great, but if it doesn't come through, I'm still able to do and carry through all of my plans.
So yeah, we're gonna have to we got to figure out how we can there's so many Black kids that do enjoy like gardening and things of that nature, but they're just not exposed to it. So we've definitely got to figure out how we can connect you with more youth. That I think that would be just hella a one of those pictures or field trips or just something. Go get hands on it. For me, some of that stuff becomes like strategies, for mental health. Like that might be something that you just zone out. You got your headphones on. You don't have to think about anything. So yeah, like speak to what that does for you in like your soul. That sounds bad.
It really helps. No, it helps my mental health journey a lot. Being outside in general, the sunlight, the vitamin D is very helpful for us as a people. But even there's science about the chemical exchange from your hands and your feet being in the soil and that coming to you and going back and forth, the energy going back and forth. Is
that called grounding?
Yes.
Somebody else was telling me. I be listening, man. I be trying to take it all in. Right. Go ahead.
No, yeah. So those are all really good things. And then also the conversations that happen when you are working on the farm, pulling weeds and stuff. It's pretty much like a therapy session because you just end up talking about certain things, what's going on, processing things with your friends when you're out there on the farm. So I think that that's another way that is helpful. And I've really been getting into the therapeutic aspect of beekeeping.
Oh,
and
okay.
So, I applied to a grant. We'll see if I get it. But there has been studies shown for veterans with PTSD that beekeeping helps them with that, and it helps regulate their emotions, the frequency.
Listen, veterans, I know they need it, but listen, we've got a lot of youth dealing with PTSD just in general, and they don't know it though.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
And
yeah,
yeah,
no,
and it'll be things that you think is small as a Black person. You're like, I didn't die, so it wasn't that bad. And I
right.
talked to my therapist, and she's like, no, you have PTSD from that
Yes.
experience. I'm like, oh, okay.
Like that is something that is triggering you.
Yes. And so that the beekeeping helps with that. And it's when you're in your suit, there is an adrenaline rush because it is something dangerous around you, but it also helps you regulate that adrenaline because you know you're safe. And so it's like helping yourself find that middle ground while you're in beekeeping. And you have to be calm. You have to calm down because the bees can sense it. And so if you're freaking out, they start freaking out. And so you kind of start self-regulating yourself.
Now, how in the world did you get into beekeeping?
I just thought it was cool.
Did you see a bee movie or something?
The bee movie was good. I wouldn't give it that much credit, but but I thought it was cool. And when I made my first logo with a friend, I was like, put some bees on there. And she was like, you don't beekeep. And I was like, later on, I'll figure it out. I don't know. And then like 2.5 years later, when I was working at Badger Rock, they have beehives. And so we would teach. I was an assistant farm and what we did, like kitchen cooking educator.
Yeah. I worked at Badger Rock for a little while.
Okay, but yeah, so I did the garden and cooking class with the kids. And so we would do beekeeping. And so I spent a full season, my second year being there. I asked them, like, can I be in charge of all the beekeeping stuff so then I can learn what it is to do start to finish a season. And so then I did that. And because even though the jobs be low paying, sometimes you got to make it work for you. Right. So I spent that time like, this is just going to be like a high paying internship. It's not a really good job, but in internship ways, it is very high paying.
Get you that experience.
Yeah. And so I took that. I learned how to beekeep and maple tree tap for syrup from working there. And then I just learned how to replicate that in my own life and was like, this is not that hard. The bees kind of do their own thing and you just check in on them here and there. And so then I just bought some bees. And
you bought some bees?
Yep, off Facebook Marketplace.
So now, first of all, you're blowing my mind for the simple fact that you can buy bees. Like, mm-hmm. I just thought that was just the things that just, I mean, as a kid getting stung by a bee, like, I'm like, where do you go to buy a bee?
They ship them. You buy them. They ship them to places. You find local bee people who will order a whole bunch of packages and then they'll sell them to people.
Oh man, yeah, that is crazy. Buying bees and then taking care of them like a pet.
Mm-hmm. And I found some other older beekeepers that were retiring that gave me some of their old materials. And so, yeah, then I just pieced together a couple hives and bought some bees off Facebook. And,
Facebook Marketplace to sell bees.
If you ask the right people, you can find some stuff.
You can find anything, clearly. Shout out to you. You are resourceful as hell. I want to put that out there. Anybody listening that needs some resources that can help you to find resources, Alex got you. I promise you he can make it happen.
Yeah, I'm always looking. And that's one thing I do love about this career is, it's kind of grim, but not too grim. Like all the old white farmers, they getting old and their kids don't want to farm. So they're like, they are willing to share whatever resources or space or just like knowledge because they don't want it to just go to waste. And so I've been able to get a lot of things at pretty low prices or just being able to learn from people. And Robert Pierce, the Black farmer.
Yep.
I just go to his stand. I buy all my fruit from him all winter because he grows watermelon better. Another thing about being entrepreneurship is know your strengths and weaknesses. I am not going to be growing watermelon when his is amazing. And mine are like these little sad things. And so I'll go there each week and just talk to him and just help out at the stand, but really learn and like get more insight on the agriculture.
So for anybody that's interested, talk about the seasons. Like, what does that actually mean? I do believe, and it makes sense that like the winter is going to be one of the more challenging times?
Yeah. Technically, in Madison, in Wisconsin, you can't really do anything unless you have a greenhouse with grow lights throughout the winter. But we do like overwinter things. So greens, brassicas, but the collard greens, Brussels sprouts, those types of things, kale, those things can kind of deal with the frost, but they won't grow. They just won't die. So those are things you can do over the winter. And then right about now is the time to start planning for this upcoming season.
Mm-hmm.
We can't really grow anything, put anything in the ground until after Mother's Day for like the hot season, like the peppers, tomatoes, those types of things. But you can put in like onions, spinach, collard greens and stuff in like April. So I start my seeds around this time. I'm actually going to start my onions and my leeks and some greens and spinach in a week or so, and then we have them in a little greenhouse out at the farm, and then we plant them in the early spring. But yeah, so then that you kind of start around after February is when you can kind of start some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that April time that's for people who are really, really, really into agriculture. Most people don't do like a cool season crop. But things like cilantro, they don't like the heat. Spinach does not like the heat. And so you want to start those off in the spring. So then once June comes along, they're pretty much done because they start going to seed around then.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so doing those, and then you have the summer, the hot season. You have your harvest around closer to the fall. And then we have the cool season crops. And so doing like winter squash, pumpkins, butternut squash, sweet potatoes. Those are usually coming up at the end of the season, and hot peppers and all of that. And then also at the end of right before the fall, right before frost, is when you plant your garlic. And so you plant garlic in the fall to harvest the next summer.
All right.
It's a whole bunch of looking at the calendar. Another reason why I think it's a good time to get into agriculture is because climate change is messing up the game for everybody. So people who've been doing this for a whole bunch of years, they are still in the same place as someone starting off trying to figure out the climate and figure out how to deal with these swings and droughts and floods that we're dealing with. And so a lot of it is just paying attention to the weather. You can't really go off of the month anymore.
All right. Well, I super appreciate you sharing this information. It's been informative to me. I hope any and everybody that is watching live or gonna rewatch or watch later, man, you put a whole lot into perspective because, like we said, like this isn't the industry that, we populate or dominate. So definitely appreciate it. I got 2 questions that I love to end with.
Yes.
First of all, let me know what's next for you. What you got on the horizon? What you working on?
Yeah, what's next is that Soul and Sazon dinner party is really what I'm excited about and working towards. I believe it's one of the first things that I get to put my name and my stamp on that I'm comfortable with, and really being able to connect people with some food that I'm proud to grow. Like that energy that I put into that food is going to be going to some great people. And really create a space for us to celebrate our connections in our culture, as well as eating some really, really, really good food and having good discussion. I've noticed as I've gotten older, a lot of the networking and getting to know people in the community is surrounded around alcohol. And I don't really, it's like, okay, yeah, I enjoy it a little bit here and there, but like, I'm not trying to be out at 3 a.m. talking to a representative from MG&E or like, I'm like,
no, you're right. You right about that.
Yes. Cause I'm a person where it's like, I'm in work mode, I'm in socializing mode, or I'm in fun mode. And so don't ask me about an email that I didn't respond to and I'm at a birthday party and I got a drink in my hand. Like that's not a space. So I really want to create a space where people can get to know each other without having that alcohol be the centerpiece and having food and discussion be the centerpiece.
No, man, that's dope. That is really, I like that. I really do. I like that. Last one before I talk about what is on the horizon with Eubank Solutions. I wanted to know what's something that you would tell your younger self, knowing what you know today and the world, and you've experienced life and this, that, and the other. What is something that you would tell your younger self?
I would say to take my time, and that where you're born won't matter in a couple years. I feel I spent a lot of time thinking that I could only go so far because I was born here in Madison. And I would see stuff like people on cooking shows and different things. I'm like, no one there, that's never here. Like, no one from here ever does that. No one knows of people from here, especially Black people. But then I've learned about like the person who made soul food from Milwaukee. And I was like, shut up. Like, everybody knows that movie. Like, that is a famous movie. And
They're from Milwaukee?
Yeah, I forgot what his name was, but I learned that I think the director, like, he's from Milwaukee. I've met and seen a lot of people, like podcasters and stuff, people who work with different musicians, being from the Milwaukee, Madison area, and that really like made me feel like, okay, it does not matter that I was born here. What matters is that I have something that I can share and something that can go places. And so, yeah, I was able to travel across the country and teach to 700 something farmers from across the country, being someone from Madison. And I was actually paid to go teach in New York at Soulfire Farm, which is a Black and Indigenous farm in upstate New York. I was paid to teach out there. And so I'm like, it doesn't matter where you're from. Just put yourself out there and see what happens.
Man, you found a lane and you running through it and running in it. Man, shout out to you. Keep going. Keep doing what you're doing. And what I want to also say is just, hey, if you have the opportunity or feeling the need, pull up to the Determination to Succeed Community Mentoring Awards banquet. And if you haven't yet, go ahead and make some nominations. I've already put it in the chat. So if you get an opportunity to do it, or if you want to share with your community, please feel free to do so. And then just what I've got coming up, I've got the Determination to Succeed Community Mentoring Awards banquet. We've got 5 categories that we're going to hit on. We've got the community aunt, the community uncle, which you already talked about when you said the auntie and the big mama. So, that was funny that you said that, not knowing that this was coming. We've got the coach, the one that goes above and beyond the X's and O's, that making sure kids get to and from tournaments, to and from games, practices, making sure they eat, checking on them at school. We also have the cross-generational mentor, somebody that has gone across generations and impacting lives. Somebody like Robert is somebody that has touched many generations of people, especially with Black farmers, is somebody that you are already go to. And then lastly is a entrepreneur mentor, somebody that might have helped you to create business or helped you to expand ideas and things of that nature, which you've taken on as well. And so that we've got that, and that's more of a fundraiser, but also paying homage to those people, so they can get their flowers while they can still smell them before they're pushing them up. But then that is the fundraiser that jumpstarts the funding for the Back to School Summit that I did last year. The Determination to Succeed Back to School Summit is going to happen again. It'll be August 23rd. More details still to come, but it's something that I'm looking forward to. It's a proactive thing to help our African American boys start the school year off on the right track, having the skills, tools, and strategies to have a successful school year. I'm looking forward to it. And from that, I'm going to create a cohort that I carry throughout the course of the academic school year, and just to stay on track with them, keep them on track, and being able to check in with the schools, being able to check in with their home community, support them in any things that they've got extracurricular. But at the same time, also opportunity for exposure to different things that I will create for them outside of the curriculum, like even getting you, Alex, to be able to come in and share your expertise with some of them. And so That's what I'm looking for. And I wanted to share this video real quick, just for those that haven't seen it on social media. Here it is. Hey, you. Yes, you, the one that's watching this video right now. We're down to the final days for nominations, so please get them in. We know you got people that you support or that have supported you, so please get those nominations in. It closes soon. Don't forget to hit the link in the caption, fill out the form, and be on the lookout for the finalists, because we need you, the community, to vote for who's going to be our winners. So yes, Alex, if you get the opportunity, go ahead and make some nominations. And then lastly, if you got anything that you want to share before we get out of here, please feel free to do so.
Yeah, I definitely will be filling out that link. I opened it earlier and got distracted, so I'm definitely going to do it.
It happens. It happens.
With some people. But yeah, I guess I'll say for right now that as we walk into this space that is uncharted and we don't really know what's going to happen, I think we need to remember that we have a lot more power over our day-to-day lives than we really think that we do, and that community is not just a buzzword, but it's that it is a space where we are able to build and work with each other. And it doesn't always mean that we get along or that we are like best friends with everybody, but it means that we see how we can support each other in like living a good life. So most business owners don't like every single customer that they have, but they still and so it's a way of thinking of like we are able to support each other. So really think of ways that you have or areas in your life that you have a lot of access and things that you won't miss being able to share with other people, whether that be time, tomatoes, or anything that you have that you can share.
Yeah, so man, Alex, I super appreciate you taking time to come and share with us and let us into your world. I do hope this opens up the eyes for some other folks, and I'm looking forward to being able to share this with individuals, their youth later, so that way they have opportunities to potentially jump into this industry as well. So hold on. Once we finish this up, I want to chat with you a little bit, but just as always, you guys stay tuned. I know next month I'm going to have a great show. I'm focusing on Black women entrepreneurs. So without further ado, I appreciate you and see you next time.